students, in the second chapter regarding Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare, we have studied first 8 lines, 2 quatrains, and here we are going to study the remaining lines. In first 2 quatrains, whereas in first line of the sonnet, he establishes a proposition, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? And he gives some sort of arguments or thoughts that summer's day, how lovely it is considered in England, and what are the things which make it uneasy and short lived. And here, when in line 9th we see a sudden turn of mood or thought occurs with the very first word, but thy eternal summer shall not fade. Here he means to say that he cannot compare the beloved to a summer's day, because contrary to a summer's day, the beloved's eternal summer will never fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. And contrary to the summer's day, she will not lose her possessions, her beauty. In nature, we see that with a certain passage of time, the beauty diminishes, but here the beloved's beauty is some sort of eternal beauty which she will owe forever. And again, the eternality and the foreverness, the beauty and the life of the beloved will always be there, is emphasized by again nor we will see in the line 11, nor. Here 2 words that emphasize the eternality of the beloved. Nor shall death break thou wanderest in his shade. And here she is not subject to death as the other objects of nature are come to a decay and decline. Here the beloved's life and beauty is not going to die. It's always eternal and it's always immortal. So the immortality of the beauty and life is there. Nor shall death break thou wanderest in his shade. When in eternal lines to time thou growest. When he will write about the beloved in this sonnet, these eternal lines is this sonnet, shall I compare thee, he will adore and worship the beauty and life of the beloved, and that will always grow, that will never die and diminish. So, in the concluding stanza, the final thought is there, so long as man can breathe, means he will immortalize the beloved in these lines, and that will be forever, so long as man can breathe or eyes can see, so long as the humankind is there on earth, so it will be immortalized. So long lives this, and this gives life to thee. So long lives this means this sonnet, this beauty of the beloved will always live, and this gives life to thee. And by the passage of time, by the passing of time, this will always grow, not decline or decay. So, here in this poem, we see that the poet establishes the contradictions, the contrast between life and death, decay and decay, dissolution, and foreverness of beauty. So, we can collectively consider beauty of the beloved even after 400 or 500 years of the poem which was written there, and art and poetry, or this sonnet is telling us that beauty of the beloved will grow and art preserves life. We understand by this poem that art preserves life and it defeats death. Art defeats death. So, despite nature's changing course, despite time's winged chariot hurrying near, as Andrew Marvell in his to his co-mistress says that times time is always fickle and changing, but here the beauty of the beloved defies the effects of time. So, despite time's winged chariot hurrying near, the cycle of life always renewed, the cycle of life will always carry on every time. So, this sonnet, this beautiful sonnet, immortalized the beauty of the friend or beloved of the poet. This is a very beautiful sonnet. Students, you just read this sonnet again and again and try to understand. And if you find any kind of questions or difficulties, you can just ask me. So, thanks for attending this class. Again, we will meet. Bye.